Maggie Gallagher, the co-founder and immediate past president of the board of the National Organization for Marriage. Nationformarriage.org is the website, is on the line for us. This is basically an anti-gay marriage group, Maggie, or a pro-straight marriage group. I'm not sure how you describe yourself.
Well, I like to use the term pro-marriage, but pro-traditional marriage is, I guess, something people also say.
Well, you don't mean traditional marriage, because that would be polygamy, right? I mean,
no, actually, it's never been traditional in this country. I'm an American. My sense of the traditional ends with,
okay. So your idea of how we should define our laws goes back 200 years.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
But if you were African American 200 years ago, you couldn't marry at all because your master.
Well, you could if you were in a free state, but not if you were enslaved. And boy, was that an evil system.
Yeah. Rather than going down that road,
I'm not pro-polygamy, though.
Yeah, and you're not pro-slavery, I'm assuming. North Carolina's Amendment 1 would establish marriage between a man and a woman as the only legally recognized union in the state. There is a lot of concern that what this will do is say that the domestic violence laws, which recognize a relationship, a partnership, but don't require legal marriage, that those laws will become unenforceable.
I think that's fear-mongering, frankly. I know that other people may disagree, but they said that in Virginia before the Virginia Marriage Amendment. They said that in Wisconsin before the Wisconsin Marriage Amendment. None of those tactics have come true. I mean, nothing horrible happens when you define marriage in your Constitution as one man and one woman, unless you think not having gay marriage is horrible. So right. I think that's the real issue here.
Well, and the other thing that concerns me is I don't see, Louise and I have been married for, almost 40 years. I don't see how somebody who is gay getting married is going to change my marriage at all, or for that matter, anybody's around me. And I don't understand why anybody would be obsessed with this issue. And now we have these 4 separate studies coming out of Germany and 1 out of the University of Essex and 2 in the United States that show that on average, the people who are the most homophobic, who are the most aggressive about trying to deny gays their rights, are themselves repressed gays. I'm curious, are you attracted to people of the same sex?
I'm very attracted to people of the same sex, but just not sexually. I saw that study. I think it's amusing. It of course, had nothing to do with the marriage issue. And it was
Why not?
a study of men, so I don't really think it's relevant to me.
Okay.
But in any case, people, one of the things I really hate, Tom, frankly, and I usually refuse to do this, is I hate to psychologize other people's arguments. I know a lot of liberal and progressives.
But you're psychologizing the issue of marriage.
How somebody could care about that it's important that marriage is the union of husband and wife, because it's the one social institution that represents the ideal that children need mothers and fathers. And so they have to figure that there's some secret, dark other reason for it. But really, that is my reason.
And yet, when you look at the science on this, Maggie, what children really need is loving parents, and sometimes even just loving parent. That a child with, being raised by a single parent is better off than a child who's raised in foster care or a child who's raised in an institution, and that a child raised in a gay family is just as well-adjusted and, just as likely or unlikely to grow up to be gay as a child raised in a straight family. There's no difference.
I actually don't think we know that scientifically. The one thing we do know and again, I think children can be raised well in all family forms. I'm not surprised to learn that there are gay parents that are good parents. I'm not proposing to take away anyone's child.
Well, in fact, generally they're better parents, Maggie.
But the idea that there's something special about bringing together the man and the woman who makes the baby, so that they love each other and the baby too. That is the heart of the marriage idea. I think of the studies, and I actually have looked at that. I've actually read 50 studies on gay parenting. There is not a single one of them that looks at children raised from birth by same-sex couples based on what scientists call probability samples, nationally representative data, and follows them through adulthood and compares them to other family forms.
Well, they've only been doing these studies for about 15 years. I mean, you haven't had out gay couples adopting kids for more than 15 or 20 years. But the studies that have been done show, you just put a lot of caveats around that. Let me make this point, though, if I may, Maggie.
You're the host.
We've been interrupting each other, and
okay, no, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Gay couples who want to have children have to work at it. Straight couples who want to have children do so accidentally more often than not. And so you've got a lot of kids in straight families who really weren't wanted, whereas in gay families, you've got kids who were almost always wanted. Doesn't it make sense that when a couple has to work to have a child or to adopt a child, that couple is going to work harder at being parents and be better parents? Shouldn't we be encouraging gay marriage so that gays can raise kids in a way that is really committed, as opposed to straight couples who just have sex and boom, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, sorry about that.
I have to respond to two things because they go in different directions. The first is there's absolutely no evidence that gay marriage is going to have any effect on children in gay families at all. It
has a legal effect.
No, it doesn't really.
It does.
We'll get into that.
If one of the parents or both the parents die, what happens to the kid? If the child comes down with cancer, who's going to make medical decisions? I mean, there's thousands of legal decisions.
What I would say on that is that a gay parent who relies on gay marriage to protect their children is making a mistake. You really need to go to adoption because it'll be recognized in all 50 states.
Well, I'm assuming adoption
nationally.
I'm assuming adoption, but if there are over 10,000 laws at the state and federal level that use the word marriage, where you don't.
None of them relate to parental relationships.
Many of them relate to parental.
Adoption is the way. But the other thing I want to say is that being wanted or one.
No, wait a minute, Maggie. Before you move on, if one parent is the biological parent or the adoptive parent, and the other parent isn't, and it's a gay couple and they're not married, that second partner is not going to have rights relative to that child, and they should.
Parent adoption. They should not depend on marriage. If there are any gay people listening, you need to know the only way to protect your parental rights is to go through the process. The adoption process, which is how we transfer rights from biological
parents. But two people who are not married cannot both adopt the same child.
Well, actually you can in a number of states, and if that's not true in Minnesota, that would be, or wherever we are. Sorry, Tom, I'm
North Carolina. But why not just allow
something to address?
Why not just you got people who are born gay? Why not just let them get married like everybody else?
Well, because they don't want to get married. They don't want to marry. I mean, gay men don't want to marry.
But then why are they pushing for it?
Because it's not marriage. You're missing my point. The idea.
It's not religious. It's not marriage according to some churches.
No, it's not marriage according to the great cross-cultural human understanding of what marriage is and what it's for, which is deeply rooted in the reality. Just what you pointed out. How we need a social institution called marriage that's directed to bringing together men and women to protect their children.
Yes.
This has really nothing to do with gay relationships.
And it doesn't have to be men and women. It could be men and men, or it could be women and women. But they need to have the legal protections to protect their children and each other.
Can I go back to the thing that you didn't let me finish because I keep saying things
sure, we have a minute.
Provocative.
We have a minute.
Yeah, I just want to say it doesn't for us heterosexuals in your audience or suppressed homosexuals. It doesn't matter whether a child is wanted. If you're married and you love each other and you have a child, 99% of those children will be protected.
Right, but there's a bunch of if-thens in that, Maggie, and I get your
marriage argument to make. There's a lot of ifs-thens in life.
No, I get your point, but marriage doesn't, in and of itself, guarantee good parenting. In any case, Maggie Gallagher, nationformarriage.org is the website. Thank you, Maggie.
Thanks.